Listen closely. Every achievement begins inside you, long before the world sees it. There is a power living within you, quiet, unseen, but limitless. Some call it intuition, some call it spirit, some call it the inner mind. I call it the God in you, the force that shapes your destiny the moment you decide to think with purpose. You are not weak. You are not stuck. You are not waiting for permission. You are the creator of your results. Your thoughts are not entertainment. Your thoughts are commands. Whatever idea you hold with intensity, your inner power begins to build it. If you think small, you live small. If you think rich, rich in purpose, rich in ambition, rich in discipline, your life rises to match the strength of that thought. But thought alone is not enough. It must be mixed with faith, the deep inner knowing that what you desire is already possible for you. Faith activates the God within. Doubt shuts it down. You must decide exactly what you want, not someday goals, not maybe goals, but a clear, definite purpose. When your mind knows your direction, the inner power begins to push every cell of your being toward it. Your subconscious, this silent engine, takes every dominant idea you plant and turns it into reality. Feed it certainty and you will walk with certainty. Feed it fear and you will walk in chains. Opportunities are not accidents. They are echoes of your inner state. When you elevate your thinking, you elevate the doors that open for you. When you align your belief with action, success becomes inevitable. You will be tested. Life will challenge your commitment. But persistence is the signal that tells the universe, I am not quitting. I am ready. And when you refuse to quit, the world cannot deny you. Finally, walk with gratitude. Gratitude connects you to the God within, keeps your mind clear, and keeps your vision strong. You are not begging life for abundance. You are activating the abundance already placed inside you. Remember this. You do not grow rich by chance. You grow rich by thought, by faith, by purpose, by action, and by the God in you. Stand up, think with power, act with conviction, and claim the life that has been waiting for you. Every mind contains a divine creative power that shapes reality, a force so vast, so precise, and so responsive that the moment you learn to direct it, your entire life begins to shift. Most people move through the world as if they are victims of circumstances, unaware that their thoughts are the blueprint, the engine, and the architect of every future experience. But the truth is undeniable. The mind is not just a container of ideas. It is a generator of outcomes. What you think with intention becomes the pattern your life must obey. This power inside you is not passive. It does not wait. It responds constantly. Every belief you repeat, every emotion you hold, every mental image you allow to dominate, these are instructions. The divine power within you takes these instructions and begins shaping your reality to match them. If your thoughts are filled with limitation, you will experience limitation. If your thoughts are filled with abundance, you will begin seeing opportunities that were always around you, but invisible to the mind trained to expect nothing. People underestimate how deeply creative their inner world actually is. They imagine life is shaped by luck, by the economy, by what others decide. But the great truth is that circumstances bend to the persistent thinker. When your mind becomes disciplined, when your thoughts are chosen with intention rather than fired randomly, you become a creator rather than a reactor. You stop drifting, you start directing, you begin to understand that everything you seek is first built inside your consciousness long before it appears in your physical world. This divine creative power works through clarity. When you decide exactly what you want, when your desire becomes definite and your vision becomes focused, the mind channels energy with far greater intensity. A scattered mind produces scattered results, but a mind with a clear picture held with unwavering faith becomes a magnet that draws resources, people, and situations into alignment with your goal. The world may not understand your vision yet, but the inner power within you begins shaping the path the moment you claim it. Faith is the fuel that activates this creative force. Not blind faith, not shallow hope, but the deep internal certainty that what you desire is possible for you. When you carry that kind of belief, fear loses its authority. Doubt weakens, obstacles shrink. You no longer beg life for success. You command it through conviction. When your mind is fully aligned with belief, your actions become bold and your persistence becomes unbreakable because you are no longer trying, you are becoming. This inner power also works through repetition. The thoughts you feed your mind every day become the seeds planted in your subconscious. And the subconscious does not argue, it executes. If you repeatedly tell yourself you are capable, worthy, and destined for more, your subconscious begins constructing behaviors, habits, and decisions that match that identity. If you repeat negative ideas, you shape a limited version of yourself and call it reality, unaware that you built it with your own thinking. The divine power in your mind is also deeply connected to your emotional state. Emotion gives thought its intensity. A weak thought carries no force. A thought charged with passion, with desire, with belief, this becomes creative electricity. When you think about your purpose with emotion, you energize your subconscious. When you imagine your future with feeling, you accelerate the process of turning thought into form. Emotion is the bridge between the mental world and the physical one. This inner force guides you through intuition as well. When your mind is aligned with your purpose, ideas begin to appear. Solutions surface quicker. You feel pulled toward the right decisions. You sense when to move, when to wait, and when to push harder. This is not coincidence. This is the guidance of the deeper intelligence within you, the God in you, the part of your consciousness that sees far beyond what your senses can detect. But this power only becomes real when you take action. Thought without action is potential. Thought fused with action becomes creation. When you step toward what you want, even in small ways, you activate a chain of events that were dormant until you moved. Action signals seriousness. It signals readiness. And the divine power within responds with speed when you demonstrate commitment through effort. Persistence is the test of your devotion to your vision. The universe will challenge your consistency, not to punish you, but to measure you, because the life you desire requires a certain strength, and persistence proves that strength. Every time you refuse to quit, you increase the force of your inner power. Every setback you overcome sharpens your mind. Every difficulty you push through strengthens your belief. And when belief, thought, emotion, and action remain aligned, your success becomes inevitable. In the end, the divine creative power in your mind is not something you acquire, it is something you awaken. It has been there from the beginning. It is waiting for your instruction. It is waiting for your decision. When you choose your thoughts with intention, when you train your mind to expect greatness, when you align your belief with your purpose, you step into the highest version of yourself. And at that moment, reality bends. Opportunities appear, doors open, and life begins to reflect the power you have finally learned to use. This is the truth. Your mind is your greatest wealth. And when you think with clarity, faith, emotion, and persistence, you do not just grow rich, you grow into the person who was meant to create richness all along. Thoughts become forces. Only disciplined, directed thought creates wealth. This is not poetry, not philosophy, and not an inspirational slogan. It is a law of the mind, a principle as real as gravity, operating whether you understand it or not. Every thought you hold with persistence begins to take shape, gather energy, and pull circumstances into alignment with it. But only the thoughts that are disciplined, focused, intentional, and sustained have the power to create anything of value. Random thinking produces random results. Scattered thinking produces scattered outcomes. But when the mind is directed with purpose, it becomes a creative engine capable of building an entirely new life. Most people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they never learn to control the flow of their thoughts. Their minds drift, jumping from fear to doubt to insecurity to distraction, never holding one idea long enough for it to manifest. They allow every outside influence to shape their inner world. News, opinions, criticism, noise. And then they wonder why their lives feel chaotic. Wealth, whether financial, emotional, spiritual, or relational, cannot grow in a mind filled with mental clutter. Wealth grows where thought is disciplined, consistent, and rooted in belief. Directed thought begins with clarity. You cannot generate force behind an idea if you do not know exactly what you want. A vague goal leads to a vague life, but a definite, precise intention gives your mind something solid to lock onto. The moment you decide with absolute clarity what you want to achieve, your thoughts begin to gather power. They stop wandering. They begin moving in a single direction, and that direction becomes your roadmap. A clear thought becomes a command to the subconscious mind, and the subconscious responds with actions, instincts, ideas, and opportunities that match that command. But clarity alone is not enough. A powerful thought must be held with discipline. Discipline means repetition. It means returning to the idea every day, especially when doubt tries to creep in. The mind is like a muscle. Repetition strengthens it. Focus sharpens it. Persistence gives it momentum. A disciplined mind does not allow fear to dominate its internal dialogue. A disciplined mind does not entertain thoughts of failure. It recognizes negative thinking as a threat to its purpose and replaces it instantly with thoughts that serve its goal. When a thought is held with discipline, it begins to generate force, an invisible but unmistakable energy. You start noticing things you never noticed before. You begin seeing opportunities that were hidden from you when your mind was unfocused. People call this luck, but it is not luck. It is the power of directed thought reorganizing your perception and aligning you with what you're seeking. The world around you has not changed, you have. And because you have changed, your relationship to opportunity changes. Directed thought also shapes your emotional state. Emotions are amplifiers. A thought without emotion is weak. A thought infused with desire, confidence, and belief becomes magnetic. It draws you forward, makes you act boldly, makes you speak differently, walk differently, work differently. Emotion charges thought with intensity, and intensity speeds up manifestation. When you combine a clear thought with disciplined repetition and powerful emotion, you create a mental force that reshapes your habits, your decisions, and eventually your results. Every wealthy person, financially or otherwise, has mastered this principle. They do not allow their minds to drift into doubt or fear. They do not scatter their mental energy on a dozen unimportant things. They direct their thinking like a beam of light, sharp and controlled. They focus on solutions, not obstacles. They think in terms of possibilities, not limitations. And because their thoughts are disciplined and directed, their actions become precise and their outcomes become predictable. The mind is always creating. It never stops. The only question is whether you are creating consciously or unconsciously. Undisciplined thought creates debt, stress, confusion, and stagnation. Disciplined thought creates wealth, clarity, direction, and growth. Wealth is not simply money. It is the outcome of a disciplined mind generating disciplined actions that produce disciplined results. To direct your thoughts is to direct your future. This requires eliminating distractions, the unnecessary noise that steals your attention and drains your mental power. It requires mastering your emotional responses, learning to stay calm under pressure and thinking constructively, even when circumstances seem unfavorable. Most importantly, it requires belief, not shallow, surface-level belief, but deep inner certainty. When you believe in your vision with unwavering conviction, your thoughts gain strength. They become forces of creation. As your thoughts gain force, your confidence grows. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop waiting for permission. You stop letting fear dictate your decisions. You begin acting with purpose because your mind is aligned with your goals. And when the mind and actions operate in harmony, wealth is inevitable. The world bends to the persistent thinker. Challenges that break others become stepping stones for you. Setbacks do not defeat you because your thoughts remain anchored to your outcome, not your obstacles. Remember this truth: your life moves in the direction of your dominant thought. If you direct your thinking with intention, discipline, and belief, you activate a creative force that nothing can stop. Wealth is built in the mind before it ever appears in the world. Everything begins as thought. Everything grows as thought. Everything is created by thought. And only disciplined, directed thought creates the kind of wealth that lasts. Faith is the permission slip that allows your inner power to operate. Without it, even the greatest ideas remain trapped inside you, silent, inactive, unable to move. Faith is not blind optimism, not wishful thinking, and not empty positivity. It is the deep, unshakable conviction that the power within you is real, that your vision is valid, and that your desires are achievable long before you have proof. Faith opens the gate between intention and manifestation. It signals to your inner power that you are ready to transform thought into reality, potential into action, dreams into results. Your inner power is always present. It never leaves you. It waits, it watches, it listens, but it cannot work through a mind filled with doubt. Doubt is the barrier that suffocates possibility. Doubt weakens your energy, slows your progress, and convinces your consciousness to retreat. Faith does the opposite. Faith releases your power, strengthens your actions, and pushes you to move with confidence even when the path is unclear. Faith commands your inner voice to rise, and your circumstances begin to follow. Faith is the spark that activates your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not respond to weak wishes. It responds to absolute certainty. When you believe something with full emotional conviction, your subconscious accepts it as truth and begins aligning your behavior, your choices, your intuition, and even your perception to match that belief. You start seeing opportunities you never noticed before. You begin feeling guided toward the right decisions. Solutions come faster. Ideas appear with clarity. This is not coincidence. It is faith opening the channel through which your inner power can finally flow. Without faith, your mind becomes hesitant. Every idea feels risky. Every challenge seems larger than it is. Every setback becomes a signal to quit. But faith rewires your response. When you have faith, obstacles appear as tests, not signs of defeat. Delays feel temporary, not permanent. A closed door is simply a shift in direction, not the end of the journey. Faith does not remove challenges. It gives you the strength to move through them with certainty. And that certainty is what transforms average efforts into unstoppable progress. Faith is also the source of courage. People often wait for confidence before taking action, but confidence is born from repeated steps forward. Faith is what gets you to take the first step when confidence hasn't arrived yet. Faith whispers that you are capable when your mind is unsure. Faith pushes you into the arena while doubt tries to keep you on the sidelines. Every bold move you make in life begins with faith. Faith in your abilities, faith in your purpose, and faith in the power that lives within you. Faith sharpens your focus. When you truly believe in your goal, distractions lose their power. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your vision. Your priorities shift. Your discipline strengthens. Your standards rise. You begin operating on a higher frequency because you are anchored by belief, not tossed around by uncertainty. Faith keeps your mind locked on the outcome even when the process becomes difficult. But faith does not work alone. It must be paired with action. Action is the demonstration of belief. When you act, you declare to the world and to yourself, I trust the power within me. Every step you take, no matter how small, reinforces your faith. Action turns faith into evidence. Evidence strengthens belief, and belief fuels more action. This cycle is how success is built from the inside out. Faith is also the antidote to fear. Fear is loud, aggressive, and persistent. It tells you that you're not ready, not worthy, not capable. Faith speaks more quietly, but with far greater authority. It reminds you that you have overcome challenges before. It reminds you that everything you need is already inside you. It reminds you that growth requires risk, and risk requires belief. When you choose faith over fear, you give your inner power permission to override your limitations. Faith elevates your energy. When you believe in your future, you walk differently, you speak differently, you think differently. People feel your conviction. Opportunities respond to your mindset. Your energy becomes magnetic. This is why people with faith often attract resources, relationships, and possibilities that others miss. Their belief radiates outward, shifting their environment to support their intention. Faith also deepens your resilience. When your belief is strong, you can endure more, push harder, last longer. Setbacks become temporary lessons instead of permanent defeats. Failure becomes feedback instead of identity. Faith transforms adversity into growth. It allows you to hold your vision even when everything around you seems uncertain. It gives you emotional endurance, the ability to stay committed long enough for your inner power to deliver results. Faith is not something you find, it is something you choose. It is a decision you make daily, to trust your purpose, to trust your potential, and to trust the quiet force inside you that already knows you are meant for more. You do not need to see the whole path to walk with conviction. You only need to believe that the next step will reveal itself when you take the first one. Understand this, your inner power is limitless, but it waits for your permission, and faith is that permission. When you choose faith, you give your mind the freedom to create boldly. When you choose faith, you unleash the strength you didn't know you had. When you choose faith, your life begins to shift. Quietly at first, then rapidly, then unmistakably. Faith is not a luxury. It is the foundation of all achievement. It is the force that unlocks your potential, activates your inner power, and transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. When you walk with faith, you walk with the full strength of the power within you. And with that, nothing is impossible. A clear and definite purpose unlocks spiritual and material success. It is the starting point of every great achievement, the invisible engine behind every extraordinary life. Without purpose, the mind drifts. It wanders through days, reacting to circumstances instead of shaping them. But the moment you define what you truly want with precision, with conviction, with emotional certainty, your entire inner world begins to reorganize itself. Suddenly your thoughts have direction, your energy has aim, and your actions have meaning. Purpose is not just an idea, it is a force. It wakes you up, strengthens you, guides you, and aligns every part of your being toward a single intention. Most people live without purpose because they never take the time to ask themselves what they truly want. They follow routines, habits, and expectations handed to them by others. They chase distractions, not destinies. They work endlessly yet move nowhere because their effort has no direction. Activity without purpose is the greatest form of waste. But when you decide on a definite purpose, even one bold, powerful sentence, your life stops drifting and starts accelerating. A clear purpose acts like a compass for your mind. When you hold a purpose firmly, every decision becomes easier. You no longer guess. You no longer hesitate. You simply ask, does this take me closer to my purpose? If the answer is yes, you commit. If the answer is no, you walk away. This clarity saves you from confusion, from temptation, from chaos. Purpose cuts away distractions like a sharp blade until only what matters remains. Purpose also energizes your spirit. When you wake up knowing what you are building, life feels different. You no longer need external motivation. You have internal fire. You feel pulled by your vision instead of pushed by pressure. Your purpose gives you emotional strength, mental clarity, and a sense of meaning that outlast every challenge. And when your spirit is aligned, you operate from a higher level of intelligence and intuition. A definite purpose must be specific. Vague goals produce vague actions. You cannot awaken your inner power with, "I just want to do better," or "I want to be successful." What does success look like? What do you want to create? What impact do you want to make? What life do you see when you close your eyes? The mind responds to clarity. The subconscious responds to detail. The universe responds to certainty. When your purpose becomes definite, your inner power begins to build the path toward it, piece by piece. Purpose also expands your courage. When you know why you're doing something, fear loses its grip. You become willing to take risks, make sacrifices, and step outside your comfort zone because you understand what you are moving toward. People without purpose avoid discomfort. People with purpose use discomfort as fuel. They embrace the struggle because they know the destination is worth it. Your purpose will also attract the right people. When your direction is clear, those aligned with your vision begin to appear. Mentors, collaborators, partners, opportunities. Your purpose has a magnetic quality. It broadcasts your intention, and the world responds by sending support. But without purpose, you cannot attract anything meaningful because you are not sending out a meaningful signal. Spiritually, purpose aligns you with your inner power. It connects your conscious desires with your internal intelligence. When your purpose is true, when it reflects your values, your gifts, and your calling, it activates a deeper sense of guidance. You start receiving insights, ideas, and intuitive nudges that seem to come from nowhere. This is your spirit cooperating with your purpose. It helps you see what others overlook, understand what others miss, and move in ways others cannot explain. Materially, purpose increases your productivity, discipline, and resilience. It sharpens your focus and intensifies your work ethic. You begin using your time wisely because you know what your time is worth. Purpose pushes you through fatigue, doubt, and failure. It makes you persistent. And persistence is the root of material success. Wealth, achievement, and opportunity flow to those who refuse to drift. Purpose also reshapes your identity. When you commit to a definite goal, you stop behaving like who you were and begin acting like who you must become. Your habits change. Your choices change. Your standards rise. You upgrade your environment, your thinking, and your associations. Purpose evolves you. It transforms your inner world so that your outer world can follow. But purpose requires commitment. A purpose you abandon at the first obstacle is not a purpose, it is a wish. A true purpose survives criticism, delays, and setbacks. It grows stronger through struggle. The more life tests your purpose, the more it proves itself. When you refuse to quit, you show your inner power that you are serious. And once you show you are serious, the results begin to move toward you with speed. A clear and definite purpose gives meaning to your past, direction to your present, and power to your future. It activates your most potent abilities, aligns your spirit, multiplies your strength, and pulls you toward the life you were meant to live. Purpose is not simply something you choose. It is something you become. And once you become aligned with your purpose, spiritual success and material success flow from the same source. Your life changes the moment your purpose becomes clear. When you decide who you are, what you want, and where you are going with no hesitation, no confusion, and no compromise, your inner power begins to operate at full strength, and your destiny begins to unfold. Your subconscious mind obeys the dominant idea you plant in it. It does not reason, it does not debate, it does not question. It simply accepts and executes. This single truth explains why some people rise and others remain stuck. The subconscious mind is the silent architect of your life, operating beneath awareness, shaping your thoughts, emotions, reactions, habits, and even the opportunities you attract. Whatever idea you feed it most consistently becomes the blueprint it follows, and it follows that blueprint with absolute loyalty. This means you are the programmer of your destiny. Every dominant thought is a command. If the command is fear, you live in fear. If the command is insecurity, you live in insecurity. If the command is success, confidence, faith, and purpose, your life reorganizes itself to match those instructions. The subconscious mind does not care whether the thought you repeat serves you or destroys you. It simply obeys. It takes what you impress on it and builds your life around it. Most people do not realize they are planting ideas all day long. Every complaint, every worry, every self-doubt, every negative memory, every limiting belief becomes a seed dropped into the subconscious. And because it does not judge, it begins nurturing that seed until it becomes the dominant mental pattern. That pattern then shapes behavior, actions, choices, and habits, and those behaviors shape results. If the dominant idea in your mind is "I can't," your subconscious will make sure you avoid situations where you might succeed. If the idea is "I'm not good enough," your subconscious will sabotage opportunities, not out of malice, but because it believes your instruction. If the idea is "life is hard," you will notice struggles everywhere. The mind will always find evidence for the idea you feed it most. This is why people feel trapped. They are not trapped by circumstances. They are trapped by the dominant idea they installed in their subconscious. But the power of this truth is that you can choose the ideas you plant. You can uproot the thoughts that limit you and replace them with thoughts that strengthen you. The subconscious does not resist change. It only needs repetition. A single positive thought cannot override years of negative programming, but a repeated thought can. When you hold a new idea with consistency and emotion, the subconscious eventually accepts it as truth. And once it accepts it, your life begins to change from the inside out. The subconscious mind responds strongest to emotion. A thought without feeling is weak. A thought mixed with emotion, excitement, gratitude, certainty, becomes a powerful command. This is why fear spreads quickly. It is charged with intense emotion. But the same principle applies to faith, confidence, purpose, and vision. When you visualize your future with emotion, you plant that idea deeper. When you speak affirmations with passion, you carve them into your subconscious. When you act in alignment with a belief, you reinforce it until it becomes part of your identity. Identity is created in the subconscious. You behave according to who you believe you are. If you believe you are capable, you will take capable actions. If you believe you are destined for more, you will make decisions that reflect that destiny. Your subconscious always seeks consistency between your dominant belief and your behavior. This means when you change your beliefs, your actions must follow. And when your actions change, your results change. The subconscious mind also works quietly. You don't feel it working, but it is. When you plant an idea with enough repetition, your inner mind begins rearranging your habits, drawing your attention to new possibilities, nudging you toward new decisions. It may feel like intuition, but it is the subconscious guiding you based on the belief you installed. You suddenly notice opportunities you were blind to before. You meet people who align with your goals. You attract ideas, resources, and energy that match your new identity. This is not magic. It is the natural law of the mind. Your subconscious filters information based on what it believes is important. A dominant idea becomes the filter, and the filter becomes your reality. If you plant confidence, you recognize possibility. If you plant purpose, you recognize direction. If you plant gratitude, you recognize abundance. If you plant fear, you recognize threat. If you plant doubt, you recognize obstacles. Your life becomes a mirror reflecting the idea that dominates your mind. The most powerful individuals are not those with perfect circumstances. They are those who control what they plant in their subconscious. They choose their dominant idea with intention. They repeat it daily. They visualize it. They speak it. They feel it. They act as if it is already true. Over time, the subconscious accepts that idea as reality, and the world begins to rearrange itself accordingly. This process requires discipline. The subconscious cannot be changed by occasional effort. It must be fed with consistency. You must guard your mind from thoughts that contradict your vision. You must reject doubt before it roots itself. You must replace negative ideas with empowering ones instantly. Your subconscious is always listening, always absorbing, always executing. If you want to transform your life, you must transform the ideas you plant within. You must choose the dominant thought deliberately, not accidentally. Plant the idea of strength and you will become strong. Plant the idea of abundance and you will attract abundance. Plant the idea of purpose and you will live with direction. Plant the idea of success and your subconscious will guide you toward it through intuition, persistence, and inspired action. Your subconscious mind is the most powerful servant you will ever have, but it must be instructed. And it will only follow one master, the idea you repeat with the most conviction. Choose that idea wisely, repeat it relentlessly, and your life will rise to match it. You attract opportunities in harmony with your inner state. This truth is absolute, universal, and unmistakable once you learn to observe your own life with awareness. Your inner state, your beliefs, emotions, expectations, and self-image functions like a magnetic field. It pulls toward you the people, circumstances, and possibilities that match what you consistently carry within. It is not coincidence, not luck, not chance. It is alignment. When your inner world is elevated, opportunities appear that seemed invisible before. When your inner world is chaotic or fearful, those same opportunities pass right beside you, unnoticed or unreachable. Your inner state is the signal you broadcast to the world. If the signal is strong, confident, and clear, it draws everything that resonates with it. If the signal is weak, confused, or filled with doubt, it repels what you desire and attracts what you fear. Most people believe life is random because they never examine the quality of the signal they are sending. They want success, but think like failures. They desire abundance, but live in a mindset of scarcity. They seek love while carrying self-rejection. They chase opportunities while believing deep down they are not ready for them. And life simply reflects their inner contradiction. Your inner state is made of the thoughts you repeat, the emotions you choose, the attitudes you practice, and the expectations you hold. Expectation especially is powerful. You do not attract what you casually wish for. You attract what you expect. Expectation shapes your posture, your tone, your intuition, your reactions, and even the way you interpret the world. When you expect good things, you see possibilities where others see problems. When you expect growth, you respond to challenges with strength instead of collapse. When you expect to win, you act in alignment with winning, and opportunities gravitate toward people who look ready. Your inner state also determines your level of awareness. Opportunities do not always come loudly. They often come quietly, disguised as simple conversations, small decisions, or unexpected connections. A negative inner state blinds you. A confident, focused inner state sharpens your perception. Suddenly you notice the right people, you catch subtle clues, you sense shifts, you move toward the right places at the right times. What others call intuition is often just an inner state aligned with your purpose, guiding you toward what belongs to you. When you carry fear, you attract situations that confirm fear. When you carry faith, you attract opportunities that reward faith. If your inner state is filled with doubt, you will unconsciously push opportunities away, hesitating, avoiding risk, second-guessing yourself, or assuming you are not worthy. If your inner state is filled with confidence, you seize chances quickly and decisively. Life responds to your readiness. Life responds to your certainty. This alignment is why people with the same skills and the same environment can experience completely different outcomes. One person walks into a room and sees obstacles. Another walks into the same room and sees potential. The difference is not intelligence. It is inner state. It is the energy they bring, the belief they carry, the expectation they project. Some people radiate strength and clarity, and opportunities naturally move toward them because people feel drawn to that energy. Others radiate uncertainty, and opportunities move past them because people sense hesitation, insecurity, or conflict within. Your state also affects your behavior. Opportunities are attracted to action, and your actions are driven by your emotions. If you feel strong internally, you take bold steps. If you feel weak internally, you move timidly or not at all. Boldness creates openings. Timidity closes them. This is why changing your inner state is more important than waiting for the right moment. When your inner state changes, the right moments begin to appear on their own. You can shift your inner state intentionally. It begins with controlling your thoughts, feeding your mind ideas that empower you rather than weaken you. It requires practicing gratitude, because gratitude lifts your emotional frequency and opens you to abundance. It requires speaking to yourself with conviction, eliminating negative self-talk, and reaffirming your purpose daily. It requires releasing past hurts and choosing a mindset that supports growth, not limitation. And it requires believing that you are worthy of the opportunities you seek. The more aligned your inner state becomes, the more aligned your outer world becomes. People feel your presence differently. You communicate differently. You make decisions with clarity instead of confusion. You stop chasing and start attracting, because attraction is the natural consequence of internal alignment. The right opportunities come to those who are prepared internally to receive them. Your inner state also determines your level of resilience. Opportunities often come wrapped in challenges. Without the right state, you will misinterpret those challenges as signs to quit. With the right state, you will recognize them as gateways to growth and transformation. People with a powerful inner state seize opportunities even when they are disguised as problems. They rise to the moment because they know that growth requires stretching, and stretching requires pressure. This truth explains why some people seem to experience blessing after blessing. They have learned to maintain an inner state that draws more of what they desire. Likewise, those who hold on to negativity, fear, or resentment continue to attract circumstances that confirm those emotions. Your life is always responding to your inner world. The key is to choose consciously what kind of energy, belief, and expectation you want to embody. Because once your inner state rises, your opportunities rise with it. Once your mindset strengthens, your path strengthens. Once you align internally, life aligns externally. You do not chase the best opportunities. You create the inner state that draws them. And when your inner state becomes powerful, confident, grateful, and clear, you attract opportunities that match the highest version of who you are becoming. Action fused with belief becomes unstoppable. On their own, action and belief are powerful, but when they merge, they create a force that cannot be delayed, denied, or defeated. Action without belief is weak. It collapses at the first sign of resistance. Belief without action is empty. It remains a dream floating in the mind. But when you take action backed by unshakable conviction, when you move with the certainty that what you are doing must work, must grow, and must succeed, you become a force that life begins to respond to with speed. Belief is the fire. Action is the fuel. Fire without fuel dies. Fuel without fire does nothing. But when the two come together, momentum builds. You move differently, you speak differently, you take risks with purpose instead of fear. You stop waiting for permission because you already know you're capable. You stop looking over your shoulder because you trust the path ahead. The moment belief and action unite, hesitation disappears. You stop trying, you start becoming. Most people act without belief. Their steps are uncertain, fragile, and easily shattered. They work, but they doubt the outcome. They try, but they watch for failure. They move, but their mind whispers, maybe this won't work. That whisper destroys their strength. It weakens their impact. It slows their progress. Action without belief is like swinging a sword made of paper. It makes contact, but lacks force. Others believe without acting. They imagine success. They talk about success. They dream about success. But they take no steps toward it. The idea stays trapped inside them because belief alone cannot build anything in the physical world. The universe rewards movement, not intention alone. A dream without action is a cage, a beautiful vision that never sees the light. But the moment you take action with belief, real belief, burning belief, something changes. You begin to operate on a different frequency. You move with intensity, discipline, and purpose. Every step feels meaningful. Every decision feels guided. Every obstacle feels like a challenge, not a threat. And because you expect your actions to produce results, they do. Belief fuels courage. You take steps others avoid. You attempt what others fear. You persist where others quit. And the world responds to courage. People notice it. Opportunities gravitate toward it. Doors open for those who have the confidence to walk toward them. Action fueled by belief creates momentum. Momentum is one of the greatest forces in achievement. When you take consistent steps with conviction, momentum builds behind you like a wave. At first, progress may seem slow, but once momentum takes over, your growth accelerates. What was once difficult becomes natural. What once frightened you becomes familiar. What once seemed impossible becomes your new standard. Belief also sharpens your intuition. When you trust your vision, you begin receiving insights and nudges that guide your next move. You feel drawn to certain choices. You sense when to push harder and when to adjust. This is not luck. It is your inner intelligence becoming more active because you've committed with your whole being. That combination of inner guidance and outer action creates breakthroughs others cannot understand. Action driven by belief also builds identity. When you consistently act like a winner, you stop seeing yourself as someone trying. You see yourself as someone becoming. Identity is powerful. Once you identify as capable, strong, disciplined, and worthy, your behavior naturally aligns with that identity. You start attracting people, resources, and opportunities that match who you have decided you are. The world reflects your internal decision. The stronger your belief, the stronger your resilience. Challenges no longer signal defeat, they signal growth. Setbacks become tests of persistence rather than reasons to quit. You stop interpreting difficulty as a warning and start interpreting it as a doorway. Some of the greatest breakthroughs come immediately after the moments that feel the hardest. Most people quit at the edge of progress because they lack belief. Those who hold faith in their vision push through and discover the reward sitting just beyond the resistance. This is why belief must be cultivated daily. Doubt tries to creep in. Fear tries to return. The mind needs to be reminded of the goal, strengthened through repetition, and fueled with purpose. When your belief grows, your actions grow stronger. When your actions grow stronger, your results grow bigger. When your results grow bigger, your belief deepens further. This cycle becomes a loop of success. To fuse belief with action, you must eliminate hesitation. You cannot wait for the perfect moment. You must move now, even if you are imperfect, even if you are uncertain, even if you're still learning. Movement is proof of belief. Every action you take tells your subconscious, I am serious about this. And once the subconscious accepts that message, it begins providing ideas, energy, discipline, and confidence to support your journey. Action with belief makes you magnetic. People trust those who trust themselves. Opportunities present themselves to those who move with purpose. Resources flow toward those who act with conviction. This is why some people seem lucky Their belief and action create an environment where luck can enter. Action fused with belief becomes unstoppable because it aligns your mind, your energy, your behavior, and your destiny into one force moving in one direction. When you move with belief, obstacles bend. When you move with belief, fear shrinks. When you move with belief, the path clears. And when you refuse to quit, nothing can stop you. Your future belongs to the version of you who acts boldly and believes deeply. Combine these two forces and you become someone the world cannot ignore and destiny cannot deny. Persistence is the spiritual test that separates dreamers from achievers. It is the invisible line between those who wish for greatness and those who actually claim it. Every human being faces challenges, delays, setbacks, and opposition, but it is persistence that determines who will rise and who will remain where they are. Persistence is not merely continuing to act, it is continuing to act with faith, purpose, and intensity, even when the world pushes back, when doubt creeps in, and when every logical reason tells you to quit. It is the inner strength to refuse surrender when circumstances appear impossible. This is the test life sets for those who dream, and passing it is what transforms a dream into reality. Most people quit at the first sign of difficulty. They set goals with passion, but when obstacles appear, they feel defeated. They allow temporary discomfort to outweigh their vision. They measure success by immediate results rather than long-term persistence. These individuals remain dreamers, brilliant in imagination, weak in execution. Their potential exists, but it is trapped, unrealized, waiting for the courage to endure. Dreams alone have no power. They require the relentless energy of persistent action to manifest. Persistence is more than stubbornness. It is an expression of belief. It is the daily demonstration that you trust the power within you, that you trust the process, and that you trust the ultimate outcome, even when nothing visible has yet appeared. Every setback, every criticism, every failure is a test of your inner alignment. The world does not hand success to those who are tentative. It rewards those who continue, who push harder when others retreat, who see every obstacle as an opportunity to grow stronger and wiser. Persistence reveals character. It shows whether your desire is superficial or deeply rooted. Desire alone does not create results. The intensity of your commitment, measured by your willingness to persist beyond comfort, beyond fear, and beyond uncertainty, determines whether your vision becomes reality. The true achievers are not those who never fail. They are those who fail, learn, adjust, and keep moving. Persistence is the differentiator. It is the invisible hand that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. Persistence also strengthens the mind. The repeated act of overcoming challenges builds confidence and resilience. Every time you refuse to quit, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Every time you endure, your inner power grows. This is why persistent individuals begin to see doors open that others never notice. The mind becomes alert to opportunity, and the subconscious begins guiding them toward solutions. Persistence rewires your internal state to expect success, not failure, and that expectation itself attracts favorable conditions. Spiritually, persistence is a test of faith. It is the measure of how deeply you trust the unseen power within you, the force that can guide, protect, and elevate you. Those who quit too soon are telling themselves that they do not deserve what they desire. Those who persist are demonstrating faith in a force greater than obstacles, doubts, or temporary defeats. Persistence is a statement of alignment with your inner purpose, a declaration that your vision matters enough to endure. The path to success is never linear. It is filled with delays, detours, and moments that appear as failure. Persistence is what allows you to navigate this terrain without losing sight of your goal. It is the force that turns rejection into direction, setbacks into lessons, and pressure into refinement. Every obstacle you overcome adds to your mastery. Every challenge endured increases your capacity to handle greater achievement. The universe tests persistence because it determines whether your vision is ready to bear the weight of reality. Persistence also separates intention from impact. Many dreamers have brilliant ideas, clear goals, and unwavering desire, but they stop short of following through long enough to see results. Achievers continue despite resistance, sometimes for months, sometimes for years, until the fruits of their efforts materialize. Persistence compounds the small victories, strengthens the habits, and ultimately produces momentum. Momentum, once established, becomes unstoppable, and by that point, the dreamer has transformed into an achiever. Moreover, persistence teaches patience and timing. Immediate results are rare. The law of cause and effect requires repetition, learning, and endurance. Those who quit prematurely never allow the process to work. Those who persist give life the opportunity to respond. Success arrives not by luck, but by the consistent alignment of effort, learning, and timing over sustained periods. Persistence is the bridge that connects vision with manifestation. To cultivate persistence, one must anchor it in purpose, belief, and action. Purpose gives the reason to endure. Belief fuels the confidence to continue. Action moves the vision forward step by step. When these three elements combine, persistence becomes unstoppable. It is not simply a matter of willpower. It is the alignment of your inner power, outer effort, and unwavering commitment to the outcome you have declared as inevitable. Persistence is also contagious. Those who embody it inspire others, attract support, and magnetize resources. People are drawn to individuals who refuse to quit because persistence radiates confidence, integrity, and reliability. The universe, in its own way, conspires to support those who demonstrate the courage to keep moving forward, even in the face of adversity. Ultimately, persistence is the spiritual test of all achievement because it measures whether you are willing to honor your vision with the highest form of commitment, endurance. Dreamers dream, achievers persist. Dreamers wish, achievers act without surrender. The world may doubt, circumstances may resist, and obstacles may rise, but persistence ensures that the inner power within you continues to operate until the outer reality conforms to your vision. Pass this test, and your dreams cease to be dreams. They become your life. Fail it, and potential remains trapped. Persistence is the difference between desire and destiny, between intention and impact, between dreaming and achieving. Gratitude and alignment with the God within you create abundance. This is not a suggestion. It is a principle as powerful as any law of nature. Abundance is not found in external circumstances alone. It is a reflection of your inner state. When you connect with the divine power that resides within you and express true gratitude for what already exists, you unlock a flow of energy that attracts prosperity, opportunities, and fulfillment in every area of your life. Gratitude is not a polite habit, it is a transformative force. Alignment with your inner divinity is not abstract spirituality. It is the activation of a power that guides, protects, and multiplies your efforts. Most people seek abundance externally, looking to money, possessions, or recognition to fill the void inside. They chase, they struggle, and they compete, yet the results remain limited. This is because the law of inner alignment cannot be ignored. External abundance cannot flourish when the inner world is divided, ungrateful, or disconnected from the source of creative power within. Gratitude, however, opens the channel. It shifts your energy from lack to sufficiency, from resistance to receptivity, from limitation to possibility. The moment you truly appreciate what you already have, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready for more. Gratitude is a magnetic force. It reshapes your perception, allowing you to notice opportunities, people, and resources that were invisible before. A mind steeped in thankfulness naturally attracts circumstances that match its energy. Opportunities that once seemed rare begin to appear frequently. Relationships deepen, ideas come with clarity, solutions reveal themselves. This is not coincidence. It is the alignment of your inner state with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates life. When your heart is grateful, your inner power is activated and abundance flows towards you effortlessly. Alignment with the God within you is equally essential. This is the divine presence, the creative intelligence, the infinite energy that exists inside every individual. When you consciously align with it, you access wisdom, guidance, and power far beyond the ordinary. Decisions become clearer, actions become more effective, and obstacles become lessons instead of roadblocks. Alignment means you stop forcing life to conform to your limited perspective and start cooperating with the intelligence that already knows the path to your highest good. It is a partnership between your human effort and divine guidance, a partnership that transforms effort into results. When gratitude and alignment combine, you create a state of readiness for abundance. Gratitude opens the flow, alignment directs it. You become a conduit for prosperity, not a seeker begging for it. You do not chase or manipulate, you receive. You notice opportunities that others overlook because your inner state is in harmony with the source of creation. Money, health, relationships, ideas, and fulfillment begin to appear not because of luck, but because you have prepared yourself to receive them. Abundance is a reflection of your internal vibration. Align the inner and the outer cannot help but follow. This principle also shapes behavior. Gratitude cultivates humility, generosity, and patience, qualities that naturally attract more. Alignment cultivates clarity, focus, and decisiveness, qualities that make you capable of handling what you attract. The combination ensures that not only do you draw abundance, but you are equipped to use it wisely, to multiply it, and to sustain it. A mind divided, anxious, or disconnected will attract only temporary or chaotic gains. A mind aligned and grateful attracts permanent and expanding prosperity. Gratitude and alignment transform obstacles into opportunities. When you face challenges while maintaining thankfulness and inner connection, you do not see setbacks as defeat. You see them as feedback, guidance, and redirection. Abundance grows not just through accumulation, but through transformation. Each difficulty becomes a teacher, each delay becomes a catalyst, and each test becomes a step toward greater flow. This is why those who practice gratitude and remain connected to their inner divinity often experience prosperity in ways that surpass simple material wealth. They experience a richness of life that includes peace, fulfillment, and purpose. Practically, this means starting every day by acknowledging the blessings already present in your life: health, relationships, talents, opportunities. It means consciously seeking alignment with your inner guidance before making decisions, acting, or reacting. It means trusting the intelligence within you to lead your steps toward growth and prosperity. It means choosing an inner state that supports abundance rather than resistance, fear, or scarcity. Every thought, emotion, and action becomes a seed planted in the fertile ground of the universe, and the harvest is inevitable. Abundance is a state of being, not merely having. Gratitude reminds you that life is already generous. Alignment reminds you that the life force within you is creative and powerful. Together, they remove the blocks of doubt, fear, and impatience. They activate the law of supply, the law of attraction, and the law of cause and effect in your favor. Your inner energy begins to resonate with prosperity. You move, think, and act in ways that naturally generate results. You stop struggling because your efforts are guided by purpose and amplified by divine energy. Those who understand this law never see lack as permanent. They understand that scarcity is temporary and that abundance is always accessible when gratitude and alignment are present. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone, every effort is multiplied, and every opportunity is amplified. Life becomes a series of synchronized events, reflecting the inner harmony you have cultivated. This is the true power of gratitude and alignment. It transforms the ordinary into extraordinary, the possible into inevitable, and the dreams of your heart into tangible reality. Gratitude and alignment with the God within you create abundance because they prepare you to receive it, activate the inner power to attract it, and harmonize your actions with the flow of life. The more deeply you cultivate both, the more effortless, expansive, and unstoppable your prosperity becomes. This is not wishful thinking. It is a law, a principle, and a practice that, when applied consistently, transforms your life completely. In conclusion, the power to create the life you desire has always been within you. Every thought you hold, every belief you nurture, every action you take, every ounce of persistence you embody, and every moment of gratitude you practice shapes your reality. The God within you is not distant. It is your own infinite creative force, waiting for you to align with it, trust it, and act upon it. When you think with clarity, act with conviction, persist without hesitation, and remain grateful for every step of the journey, you become unstoppable. Abundance, success, and fulfillment are not just possibilities. They are inevitable consequences of the inner power you cultivate. Choose to awaken that force. Honor it daily and let it guide you, and your life will rise to reflect the greatness that has always existed within. The moment to step into your power is now, for the universe responds not to hesitation, but to the unwavering command of a mind and heart fully committed to its highest vision.